a grandiose plan will follow and make sure that Ghana becomes a Krabehwe. Mr. Moderator, the next NDC government will vigorously take the following areas in the health sector to complete the health for all agenda. And that is the area we are going to hinge on, we are going to harp on very effectively, health for all. 1, HIV/AIDS, traditional medicine, malaria, nutrition, non-communicable diseases, mental health, national health insurance scheme, national ambulance scheme. These are the areas along the health line which we're going to develop and make sure we aspire to and see some results. Now we want to talk about infrastructure. Notwithstanding our recent achievements in the infrastructure sector, the NDC recognizes that much of Ghana's competitiveness challenges can be traced to the fact that the current stock of economic and social infrastructure is both inadequate and generally not in the right direction or quality. Serious efforts have been made to redress this situation, but we are yet to achieve the critical mass of improvement required. In line with our records, the NDC government will aggressively underline continue with this effort under a high sense of urgency to expand, modernize the infrastructure stock in a comprehensive manner in the next 4 years, guided by the National Infrastructure Plan that has been drawn and been studied and worked on. Now, the following specific programs and projects will be pursued by the next NDC government infrastructure-wise. Energy for growth, oil and gas development, renewable energy, intermodal network, road infrastructure, highways, urban roads, feeder roads, which are very dear to many, many of us. We want to go to your village and you also go and say, and that will give some pride to our old ladies and our mothers who have never tasted and seen what it looks like. Now, feeder roads, non-national transport, railways, aviation, marine, and marine transport. Mr. Moderator, when we talk about development, when we talk about governance, when we talk about people being happy, when we talk about making sure this country remains a Krabehwe, this country remains where other ones want to come. These are the areas in brief we have touched on in our manifesto. When the questions come, if there are areas, gray areas that I have left, if there are areas you want to help me contribute so that NDC becomes the next government and continue to be in government for as much as we want to hold it, thank you and God bless you for coming.
Thank you very much. We've all listened to Honorable Kwesi Abuaje, the representative for the National Democratic Congress in the Volta region. He is the chairman. You were within time. We still have a few minutes. And I think if we all go that way, we would be making a lot of progress. The turn of the PPP, the Progressive People's Party, and we have Agbenossi Richdo, the parliamentary candidate for the Hohoe North constituency. Richard.
Honorable Regional Minister, our distinguished traditional rulers, the security services, the media, all protocol observed. We are very grateful for this platform, and we wish more of this before the 7th December, Mr. Moderator. On the issue of education, we of the PPP are promising Ghanaians a free but compulsory, continuous education. Mr. Moderator, I stress, free, compulsory, but continuous from the kindergarten level through the JSS level to the senior high level. And we are going to employ educational police that is going to create jobs for our brothers alongside. When it's Monday to Friday in the morning, their work is to make sure they move from house to house, community to community, making sure every child of school-going age is in school. And every child that is still at home, the parent will be held responsible. That is our policy on education. Why this? We have realized that with providing of free exercise books, providing of free school uniforms, the free school feeding project, and 1 laptop per child project, we still have our falling standard on the rise. Take a critical example of the BC exam this year. Come to the Volta region. It is not something to say here laughing. And if I bring it down to the district level, where I am coming from, Hokwe district, Mr. Regional Minister, 15 schools have been tagged as schools that have failed totally. And all the students from these schools are supposed to go and start from Form 2 or go and learn trade. Our question is, how many of these children will be able to do this? So we're going to have a lot of them still lying on the streets. Most of them will still be struggling with the Okada business we are complaining of. And most of the ladies will end up with certificates at their back. That is why we are saying it must be free, but then compulsory. And it should be continuous. We are also looking at abolishing the BECE exams. We of the PPP think that the BECE exam is not and cannot be the exam to condemn our young ones. When you reach the JSS 3, based on your performance, you will be pushed to go on to the senior high, still free. But then those who we think cannot make it will be repeated. Then when you get to the senior high level, where you can better think, where you think you can articulate issues, you can really think what you want to become for yourself, then face the WASSCE exam, where you determine whether you want to continue to the university, the polytechnic, the training, or you want to go into vocationals. That is our policy on education. Questions have come up like, how are you going to fund it? We shouldn't forget, we are not the only people saying it. How are the rest going to fund it? We think if the new pension law is implemented, we will have a lot of money to cater for this project. We also think with prudence governance, with incorruptible governance, there will be a lot of money left in our coffers to manage this. We are also of the view that with avoidance of judgment debt in Ghana, we will have a lot of money to run this project. Mr. Moderator, on the issue of health, we of the progressive family are of the view that a visit to any health center in Ghana will record major diseases like malaria, cholera, and guinea worm. These are preventable diseases. Is National Health Insurance Card the permanent solution? No. We think the National Health Insurance Card that we are all championing all over is good, but cannot be the permanent solution. It's rather a license to continuous living with the disease. Why? Because anytime the disease comes, you go for medicine, and you are okay. It comes by, you go for medicine. We, the progressive family, are going to ensure that we have a cleaner environment in Ghana. If all our gutters are distilled, if we can have every container being packed off within our vicinity without breeding mosquitoes, if all things are turned into useful farmlands and are not breeding any of these diseases, then we think Ghana will be free from all these preventable diseases. And we'll have a lot of these monies we use every year to import medicines to use for other useful projects in Ghana. Mr. Regional Minister, Volta region up to now cannot boast of any specialized mental hospital. Not anywhere. My research tells me that only Trafalgar, just around us here, even that is not any place for mental people to be well taken care of. It's just an advisory service they provide there. So all the lunatics we have on the streets, we are complaining about them, Togwi. What do we do to them? Where do we take them to? Must we transport all of them to Panta in Accra, or Psychiatry Hospital in Accra, or where? Don't we deserve mental hospitals in the regions where we don't have any? That is where the Progressive People's Party comes in. It is a bother to us. We want to make sure these things are taken care of. We are also going to reintroduce the town council personnel, which we have years back. And every morning, our sisters, our mothers, our aunties are rushing to sweep their houses, making sure everywhere is clean because they don't want to pay the little fee. That we think if we reintroduce it, our communities will be cleaner. And we'll all make sure we don't have rubbish littering all around the place. Just this morning before I walked in here, I heard on one of the radio stations that just in front of the nursing training college have been packed heaps of rubbish. If we have town council personnel, I think that will never happen. That is where you should consider the PPP. Mr. Moderator, on the issue of agriculture, we think that the contribution of agriculture in Ghana to our GDP have performed very poorly over the years. The potentials in Ghana have not been tapped at all. We don't eat what we grow in Ghana. We tend to like made in outside country goods than what we produce with our sweat in Ghana. That we want to see a stop to. We of the PPP thinks, if you give us the mandate, we are going to use government purchasing power to make sure we buy what we produce right here in Ghana. It is not pathetic that with this free feeding project going on in some of the schools, not all the schools, most of the rice we feed our children with are imported. What do we want the average Ghanaian, the local rice farmer, to do to his rice? Where should he take it to? The yams, where should they sell them? We don't have markets for these things. If we can draw up a budgetary fund that will enforce that every department, at least a percentage of your fund is used to buy made in Ghana goods for consumption within the company or for projects such as this, we'll be going a long way. Bamboo. Bamboo has been identified as one useful commodity right now. It's now a very useful raw material for a lot of our industries. And I'm happy to tell you that bamboo is now being used for bicycle, charcoal, and toothpick, and many more. But go around us. Just a little tour around us. bamboo is almost a waste. Places like Bledi, Alavanyo, Bean Vegbe, and all over, Pando and all over, bamboo is lying all over. These things can be turned into useful jobs for our young ones, where they are put into groups and paid so they can pick up these bamboos for the industries that use them. The grass cutter farm is one of the easiest farms that any animal rearing production company or anyone want to go into animal rearing can be thinking about. Yet the meat has value and it's very expensive. Guinea, Cote d'Ivoire, and all the other countries, it's so expensive there. We can use most of them for our restaurants right here and import the rest. And export the rest, sorry. But what are we doing with them? We have only few people dotted around who are doing it for their home consumption. We think, given the nod, we are going to ensure that we mobilize youth, particularly those with agricultural training, that most of them have tend to do other programs. Don't waste the talent they've started with. We gather them. They will go into grass cutter farming, supported and expanded so it can employ a lot more of our youth. This will go a long way to help Ghana. Talking about fish farm, as my brother earlier said, fish farm, yes, we've all realized it's very lucrative now, but how many people are into it? This is one area we want to expand. We want to finance and make sure it takes more of our people on the street into this business. So the issue of unemployment become a thing of the past. The jobs are around us. With agriculture and the right framework, the jobs are just around us. Nursery Park, Mr. Moderator, still under agriculture. We don't have any nursery park, particularly within the Volta region here. We are noted for farming. We pick our cocoa seedling, our coffee seedling, our oil palm, orange, mango, the seedling. Where do we get them from? Yet we all yearning to go into these farms. We think, given the nod, we're going to make sure we have nursery park, at least 2 in every region, where people will be employed to do, some will be made to raise the birds, some will go into the nursing, some will do the trickling out of the wheat, some will go into the marketing of the seedling, and some will also help in the transportation of these seeds to the destination of our customers. Then on irrigation. Northern region, we all know, is one of the most dried regions. So to speak about Burkina Faso. But where do we pick our vegetables? We pick them from these places. Why can't we do the same right here and other regions? With irrigation, we can make sure we produce a lot more of vegetables, even within the dry season, to feed Ghanaians and some for exports. These are other areas we are looking at. Mr. Moderator, on infrastructure. Our roads, we cannot talk about infrastructure without hitting on our roads. Those who have traveled from Accra to this place this morning, I'm very sure you would have been here earlier if not for our roads, and even not for the contractors who are still working on the roads. What do we do about them? The heart of the fools are in the hinterland, are in the villages. What do we want the poor farmer to do to his foodstuffs? Be on the road from Brown-Hafo to Accra or the nearest market for how long? These are the plight of the average Ghanaian. Volta region. Just around us here, Akpafu, Fodome, Alavanyo, and several other places where we get our foodstuffs. Even Ho, the regional capital, cannot boast of any good market. Talk less about the road to the market. Where do we sell these things? Our road, we think, needs serious improvement. And this is our headache, the PPP. By our constitution, it is the right for every worker to enjoy housing. Just like the police service, the army, the health workers, and so many others. But look at the teachers. Go to some constituencies and some regions. Little efforts have been made in that regard. But the rest, what are we doing about them? Teachers live far away from their schools. They travel miles to school. And by the time it gets to their turn to go and teach, they are sleeping off. They are dozing. What is their effectiveness? How efficient can they be in the classroom? They also need to enjoy this housing we're talking about. And that is where the PPP comes in. Give us the mandate, and we're going to make sure every school has teachers' housing closer to the campus, where the teacher wouldn't need to go and buy a motor bicycle, wouldn't need to go and stand by the roadside or at the station waiting for a car, but can just walk to the campus and can deliver more effectively. We are also looking at the fact that we've been always talking about with constructed so and so schools. The number of this number of schools have been taken under trees. This number of schools have been removed from trees. And all the words we use every day on our platforms. But let's take a close look at them. All the schools we've taken under the trees and have housed in the modern classroom. What kind of classroom blocks have we built? Most of our primary blocks have no JSS attached in most of the communities. It is sad enough that when a young child in pieces, after pieces, has to be transported or transferred or posted to another village to continue junior secondary. This we think it is not good enough. Every primary school should have a JSS attached. Also looking at the senior high secondary schools, it's not a matter of just building the secondary schools. We are not of the view that we must build more secondary schools all the time, but we should look at the ones that are existing. How effective are they? We have a lot of our secondary schools running on hostel facilities. We think that given the nod, we are going to make sure that the hostel system is abolished. So most of these schools can be turned into dormitory or boarding schools, where a senior housemaster or headmistress can monitor the students. Can you imagine a situation where you send your child to a school in Brown-Harford and he has to go and stay in a hostel under no one's care? He does what he likes. Who monitors him? So it is not about building the new secondary school. It is about making sure the ones we have are well strengthened. The ones we have are up to standard. Then we can now think about adding more. Now on economy, Mr. Moderator. We of the PPP things, if we provide support to Ghanaian industry, that's the farmers and the fishermen, by using low interest loans, technical assistance, incentives, and priority access to Ghanaian market, our economy will perform better than we have it right now. We are also of the view that if we can begin to eat what we grow in Ghana, and begin to add value to what we produce right here, we will move from raw material producing economy to a value-added economy. And that will be helping Ghana far better. We're also looking at a maintenance culture. That is taking a lot of our money from our coffers, where we have to be repairing and repairing and repairing. Maintenance culture in every institution. We will leave a lot of money in our coffers to manage this economy. With our complaint and our issue on deficit every year, we of the PPP thinks, with incorruptible governance and avoidance of judgment debts, our deficit will reduce drastically. And this issue of single-digit inflation will not only be on paper, but will reflect in the pocket of the average Ghanaian. I'll leave some other issues down for questioning so I can hammer more on them. Thank you very much.